What's going on, guys? Welcome back. We got a brand new season of Marvel Snap, and it's going to be the biggest yet with a new game mode and an archetype finally getting a boost. Movement fans, it is your time to shine. Now, the move meta is upon us as Ghost Spider is our newest season pass card and is officially live. So just jumping right on into it, how good is Ghost Spider? Should you get her? What role does she play, and where are the best places to use her? Now, looking at Ghost Spider herself, she's going to be a 2-cost, 3-power card, so, a decent stat line there. And on reveal, the last card you played is going to move to the location you just played Ghost Spider. Now, since like the beginning of Snap, really, movement has been missing something, and I like to call it move enablers. At the moment, we only have so many, and they're spread out not only in cost, but also just versatility. You see, movement decks have like tons of potential to output a lot of power, but they need these move enablers, and there's a limit and finite number of them in the deck, and also, cost restriction. Into Ghost Spider only being 2 cost, this is definitely like the missing link that we were looking for. Now, on one end, yes, I think Ghost Spider is going to be great for another way to move and power up these cards, but I also think she brings a lot of surprise at a pretty cheap cost, and she's actually going to have more versatility than you think. Now, with that being said, I want to go ahead and look at the best card combinations, and I honestly think Dagger is going to go through the roof as a kind of cheap play that you can enable now with a cheap card in Ghost Spider. But then obviously we have the other options like Human Torch and Vulture, and not played early, but more so played in the later turns is where I think they're going to get their most effective use. Like, for example, you can play Cloak on turn 5, and then going into turn 6, you can Iron Fist a Vulture and then Ghost Spider that Vulture. So all of a sudden now you've got this Vulture going to the location that you want, powered up by 10 power. Currently, you can't move cards right a lot, making move decks very predictable. And now you've got multiple options in Doctor Strange, Cloak, and then obviously Ghost Spider. So this is going to help you have an either-or choice on turn 6. And this is ultimately going to make move decks way less predictable. And it's also going to make Heimdall a better play because of the variety of things that people will see out there. But I also think we've got some really unique uses in things like Arrow. Let's say someone's playing a discard deck and they throw down Dracula, where you can play Arrow to move that to one location, and then you can go and drag your Arrow to a more needed location to take advantage of that power. Now, in the same light, you can also do things like Shang-Chi and Enchantress. You can use their tech abilities, and then, you probably cleared that lane of the threat that existed, and then you can drag their power to another location. But not only that, I think there's a lot of kind of cheeky uses that we can do, and this is where I'm going to be excited to see the community's deck design and where I plan to be using her as well. And that's cards like Hulkbuster that already belong in a movement deck in some situations. Well, you can play Hulkbuster on any card that you want to have moved, and then you can simply play Ghost Spider to move that card to that location, definitely helping out in different scenarios. One example is like a Monster Island, right? So there's a lot of those situations. But then you can also use it to be cheeky. Like maybe you notice Wong on this list. What the hell is he doing on card combinations? Well, let's say you throw down Wong, you have priority, and you think they're going to Enchantress that Wong, right? Well, you just quickly play Ghost Spider, whip them on over to another lane, and then you're free to do whatever combo you need to do. Now, those are a bit more niche situations, but cards like Claw that is able to go and give a boost to a lane, a last-second switch up on that is pretty massive in power shifting in general. So outside of just move decks, not only the move cards we have now, but 2099, who's going to be a great card, these other cards here I think are going to benefit from Ghost Spider's ability. Now with move decks, locations are both good and bad, and we have a mix of them that help and hurt the deck overall. But let's go and look at the locations that Ghost Spider is going to look to take advantage of. You have the destroy locations that are the most obvious guys, Altar of Death, Death's Domain, these Luke's Bar, these locations that you can't play into. You can simply play Ghost Spider, bounce her back, put her and die there, and then move whatever card into the location. Also ones that you want to take advantage of. Maybe Shuri's Lab, you can use cloning vats and then move those cards to another location as well. Gamma Lab, super cheeky. Move that Hulk that just got played down. Or one of my favorites are, we've all been there, you play a card early, Super Flow shows up, and you're screwed. Usually, you gotta retreat, right? It's over. Well, Ghost Spider can maybe help with this a little bit more. Space thrown, those location plays that happen a bit early. And then lastly, of course, we do have Bifrost, and we're getting more move locations, which is not only going to help Ghost Spider, but the move archetype as a whole, because there's not a lot of ways to trigger movement, and I think they've done that on purpose but with Aunt May's and the locations this season, it should help a lot. So locations, I think, are going to be a nice fit for her as well, being a movement card. But of course, again, there are locations that hurt her and movement decks in general. Now, let's go and look at some decks. I'll have more in the video tomorrow, but for some day one decks, these are going to be the ones that I think are going to work really well with the initial use of Ghost Spider to kind of kick the tires of the new card. We got to start with Wave, who I think is the perfect piece for move decks because of limiting your opponent while only needing to play Heimdall, and on top of that, being able to move your own cards with things like Cloak when paired with Wave on turn 5. You're going to be getting power and have Heimdall, and oftentimes you're going to easily outwhelm your opponent. Definitely has been super helpful even without Ghost Spider for me. I had a great win percentage over a good amount of games, and I see this thing being even better when we do have Ghost Spider. With the deck here, we're going to be focusing on trying either Human Torch or Multiple Man to get access to Hulkbuster. In turn, we can move those cards around a lot, and it's going to take some time to learn how to move these cards, but with doing that and in the combination of Wave and playing either Arrow and Heimdall, it's gonna be a damn fun deck this season. So my next deck here is gonna focus on Angela and getting this card as powerful as possible. Now, you can surely put in cards like Kitty Pryde if you enjoy playing that card over Jeff or some other cards you might not have. But with the addition of Angela, we have a way of building up power into a lane via Jeff and Vision and moving those cards. And then we have access to the cards like Dagger and Vulture that we're going to beef up with our move enablers. And then you can top it all off with Heimdall at the end. You could play him on top of Angela, or if you have that Vision, it's technically a 5/9 that you can move around to have a more advantageous position, and then play Doctor Strange and, let's say, Vulture. Now, we're going to have a lot about this with the decks and just like the best way to master move. It's a very complicated archetype, and tomorrow I'll be launching kind of a best decks that I have either talked to people that have played loads of move decks and or the ones I have found the most successful for me. So some good options here, and I'm excited to see where we kind of learn where she works best. I think movement is just largely underplayed at the moment compared to the other archetypes, and so we're going to see a big shift in not only the meta, but also these decks and the best shells of the decks. Now, guys, let's go ahead and rate the card. Now, I'm going to give Ghost Spider a 4 out of 5 stars, and that's mainly because of what she brings to the movement archetype. I think she's definitely going to just up overall what move can bring to the table. If you want to play move at all now or in the future, and I would probably say if you want to be semi-competitive with a good deck in Conquest, and this is one to learn now, then I probably would get the card. If you have no want to play move, yes, she has other niche uses, but I think you're going to be just fine. If you play Control, Professor X, you're going to counter the deck just fine. So you're not missing out massively if you don't like the archetype, but if you do, this is definitely a really good card to snag. So 4 out of 5 stars is going to be kind of my initial ranking. Now, in case you don't know, guys, we're trying to get 100,000 subs by the end of June, and if I hit that, I'm going to start streaming again, which I'm pretty pumped for. I just want to take this moment, appreciate you guys for hanging out, playing Marvel Snap, man, and just a game we enjoy, and then choosing to hang out at the channel here. So good luck with the newest card, and as always, guys, until the next one, happy snapping.